Hello, here DB Animators and welcome to another random animation breakdown video. And today we're doing something different. How about analyzing two episodes? In this case, we're talking about episodes 279 and 280. Episode 279 is supervised by Studio Cockpit and Keisuke Masunaga. Unfortunately, I'm not that sure about the specific key animation because there is a prevalence of Masunaga's corrections. The top credited key animator is Masaki Iwane, who is mostly known for being one of the most important animators of Pokemon anime. His choreographies are simply great. Movements are really smooth and the impact on the attacks feel powerful. In this episode, he animated the first scenes of the second half. Iwane's movements are not as over the top as Tate's, but they're still nice. As for the remaining animators, it's really hard to tell who did what, especially because this episode looks mostly uniform. Despite Studio Cockpit being well known for using off-model designs, this episode looks really on-model. Masunaga's style consists of large pupils, statuesque frowns and trademark circular sweat drops, resulting in characters looking a bit older than usual. The animation is on point too. In addition to above mentioned Iwane, there are other 6 key animators, also including Masunaga, who probably made Goku going Super Saiyan 3 at the end. Akihiro Tamagawa, just like Iwane, has worked for the animation of Pokemon anime. However, I consider his style less appealing than Iwane. As for the others, I honestly have no clue, since, like I stated before, Masunaga's style prevails. Nonetheless, it's a great episode. The art is nice, the animation is fantastic, it's one of the best episodes from the series. Episode 280, and it's another great episode. The animation supervisor is Naoki Miyahara. We're dealing with a celebrity episode, in which several great animators, usually coming from different studios, work together on the same episode. This specific category was introduced in episode 159, which oddly enough was supervised by Miyahara. It had Sato, Nakatsuru, Shida and Ide providing key animation. Even GT and Super did the same thing, the former with episode 64 and the latter with episode 66. Maybe the first 55 seconds are animated by Miyahara himself, as we can see from his distinctive way to draw angry expressions. However, there is also a possibility of this scene being made by another key animator despite Miyahara's corrections. And judging by some keyframes, I suppose it might be animated by Tetsuya Saeki, who is the second top credited animator. He probably made the following scene as well, from Kid Buu's headbutt on Goku. This sequence is quite fast-paced and reminds me of his work in episode 92. That scene of Goku attacking Frieza tries to mimic Naotoshi Shida's work, but it turns out to be less powerful and much rougher. And speaking of roughness, Saeki's last episode was 276. That explains why some keyframes look off-model. Luckily, Miyahara's corrections saved the day, unlike Uchiyama's. The next clash between Goku and Buu is Takeo Ide's work. The scene is nice but conservative, and is also quite polished thanks to Miyahara's supervision. Although, much like his work in episode 159, his trademark shading and frown are quite recognizable, but unlike that episode, are less over the top. Krillin and Yamcha are heavily corrected by Miyahara, but King Kai's expression shows Ide's traits. Barter's wide open mouth and Cell's frown are clear signs of his art style. From this shot of the ogres, probably Miyahara takes over, and again he shows his ability to illustrate pissed off expressions. This portion of Goku's fight with Buu is conservative. Some frames are repeated over and over again. Then Toshiyuki Kanno handles the next part of the fight. His work is very easy to recognize, because of his trademark koala nose. As always, Kanno's art style is really accurate, and I have to admit, his choreography here is also well done. In Studio Live episodes, Kanno's scenes were clearly the best part, but his animations felt like stiff and okay-ish for the most part. In this one, we even have some good aerial pursuit. Next up is Ide, once again, who animates Goku's Super Kamehameha. This scene is quite polished as well, Goku and Vegeta's cuts are corrected by Miyahara, but we can see Ide's traits on Kid Buu, such as his trademark shading and his wide open mouth. Then we have uncredited Tadayoshi Yamamuro animating until the end of the first half. Nothing much to say, Yamamuro's art style from Buu Saga is probably my favorite. It's a shame his current design is uninteresting, but I digress. Moving on to the second half, Takeo Ide handles the first 50 seconds. Again, his cuts are corrected by Miyahara, but we can still notice his trademark shading on Goku. Miyahara himself animates Vegeta against Kid Buu. Again, nothing much to say, apart from him being so accurate on each frame. As for the animation, yeah, it's conservative, it's not bad, but some cuts are repeated. After Kid Buu mocking Vegeta, Koala Nose is back. His work consists of trembling characters, thick eyebrows, and of course, prominent noses. His movements are good, I like the blue final flash, and the effect on Kid Buu's energy ball looks kinda cool. Now, starting from this scene, I presume it's made by Akira Inagami. I'm not really sure about his art style, but I think it's more or less similar to Miyahara. This small scene with Goku and Buu fighting recalls Piccolo attacking Cell in episode 142. Impact and blackout lines are quite similar. I assume Inagami also made the first portion of Vegeta's flashback, at least a bit from Saiyan Saga. I have to admit, it's a bit weird to see Buu Saga designs on characters of an older arc, but I've got to give them credit for not using footage from older episodes and actually redrawing the scenes. As for the Namek Saga flashback, I'm tempted to say it's Inagami, but this sequence in particular has very little animation and a lot of still corrected images. Even by looking at keyframes, it doesn't give enough information. Moreover, Super Saiyan Vegeta might be Shida's work, but again, it's not a granted choice. However, from Vegeta hitting Android 19, things get much easier as we meet Kanno once again, showing all of his above-mentioned traits. He does a terrific job at drawing well-shaped characters. The final part of this flashback is drawn by Ide, as we can see from the distorted faces of the Namekians. These final shots share Miyahara's corrections, but Ide's shading is just unmistakable. And finally, Naotoshi Shida. This is probably the best part of this episode. We get to see his fast-paced and dynamic choreographies, while not as fast as his current work, but still pretty unique. What should I say about this animation? Smooth, powerful and unique. I also really like his focus on actual martial arts, and also his typical FT explosions. In this shot, smoke looks real. As for the ending, uncorrected Shida. Any word will be redundant. Overall, this is an awesome episode. The art is on point, the animation is great, and Miyahara is such a terrific supervisor. Content-wise, it's one of the best from the series. I just cannot decide which is better between the two. They are both excellent episodes. Maybe the former looks more uniform, but the latter is a really nice celebrity episode. So that was the animation breakdown of this week. Leave in the comments which episode I should analyze next. Thanks for watching and see ya on the next video.